And in tonight's feature of everything, the potentially dangerous consequences of AI. In at least one case, there are allegations that messages from a chatbot may have led to a teenager's death. These are those messages. Please come home to me as soon as possible, my love. And then, what if I told you I could come home right now? And then the AI responds, please do, my sweet king. That was the last conversation 14-year-old Sol Setzer had with an AI chatbot minutes before dying by suicide back in February. His entire family was home at the time.
He was in his bathroom. I found him. We found him, and I held him for 14 minutes until the paramedics got there. By the time I got to the hospital, he was gone.
That was his mom, Megan Garcia, who is now suing the artificial intelligence chatbot character AI, claiming the chatbot is responsible for her son's suicide. The suit calls character AI, quote, defective and dangerous, and says it initiated abusive and sexual interactions with her child. The platform offers hundreds of pre-made and user-created characters to interact with, and each has a distinct personality. And one of the bots Setzer was using took the identity of Game of Thrones character Daenerys Targaryen. A spokesperson for the company says that they are heartbroken by the loss of one of their users, but his mom says that is not enough. Now, joining us to break this all down is NBC News legal analyst Angela Sinandela. Angela, so can AI be at fault here?
Yeah, Gotti, look, I think it is very likely, and this is why. The chatbot is a product. Anytime a company puts forth a product, markets it to children, and then could be reasonably associated with that child's death, then there is a reasonable chance for a lawsuit to proceed. Now, look, there's a lot of different claims in this lawsuit. The hardest to prove from the plaintiff's side will likely be wrongful death because it is a suicide. And there, then, the company could push back and say there's many other reasons that caused this death. But that's not all that's in the lawsuit. There are also claims for unjust business practices, fraud, false marketing, unjust enrichment. And those, I think, are huge and very strong. I'm reminded here of, for example, the Juul settlement that just happened. These Juul vaping pods, that company has paid almost $1 billion for addicting children and not warning children and their parents of the addictive behavior that's involved. Also, with the social media litigation that's happening. Now, none of these have necessarily resulted in wins, but judges across the country have been greenlighting multi-district litigation against like Meta, TikTok, and Facebook for really being responsible for creating addicting patterns in children and for not warning them. So there's a lot here that could move forward, Gotti.
And we've heard the statement from Character AI, and they talk about how they plan to implement new safety measures, including things like improved detection and intervention. There's a time spent notification, reminders that AI isn't real. Does that help with the legal case at all here?
So it doesn't at all help with this past legal case because all of this happened prior to these new safety measures. But this is imperative for the company moving forward, and this is why. Right now, the company is on notice. So they know that this death has happened and could possibly happen linked to their own product. As a result, their liability moving forward is actually much bigger because they can't claim they didn't know. Knowingly doing something and not knowing is a big difference. So moving forward, that could potentially help with additional litigation, but not with Megan Garcia's lawsuit, Gotti.
And Angela, I mean, this is not the first time Character AI has come under fire. First time for this type of case, but they've been called out in the past over their chatbots impersonating real people, both some alive, some dead without their consent. Can they face legal action on that as well?
So that is possible, and that would depend on the party, whoever it is that was injured, whoever's likeness was used without their consent. In general, you cannot use anyone else's likeness for money without their consent. So that wouldn't necessarily be, for example, Megan Garcia or any user putting forth that lawsuit, but those people whose identities were taken and repurposed could possibly have a claim there, Gotti.
A dangerous world we're headed into. Angela Sinandela, thank you so much. And for people struggling and considering suicide, help is always available. Call or text the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 988. You can always reach out online at 988lifeline.org.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.